Welcome back to part 2 of the Garden Report, powered by Blue Apron. Go to blueapron.com/Garden Report to get 3 free meals and free shipping delivered right to your door, and you're going to learn how to cook as well as my man Jimmy Toscano over here.
I got the blue shirt on tonight. For Blue Apron, I did it.
That's right. I got blue here. I got blue here. We're Blue Apron solidarity over here.
I don't think you're going to cook like me just yet.
This shirt's a little zip recruitery, though, I must say. But yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you're on a job interview.
Okay, so speaking of job interviews, the Celtics and Brad Stevens have a job interview for the NBA All-Star Game coach, and Stevens and the Celtics now sit a game and a half clear in second place, which would mean, because Ty Lue was the coach last year, that Brad Stevens would be the coach of the Eastern Conference All-Stars. That is huge. Stevens obviously is well respected around the league, and this would be a big coming out party for him. And I can guarantee you he does not care one bit, or at least we'll say he does not care one bit. But more importantly, the Celtics are in second place. And I remember talking before the season, I expected them to be pretty much in second place by the time the All-Star break rolled around. And it seemed like a far-fetched idea a month ago or so. But, you give it time, and then they're good again. And now they're good. They're good without Avery Bradley. They went up against Toronto without DeMar DeRozan. They were without Bradley and Kelly Olynyk. But tonight, they kind of took control of the Eastern Conference, at least the section of it below Cleveland, which is Cleveland and then everybody else.
Right. I think it was a huge win for them tonight for that reason. To take second place, you get Brad Stevens more likely to be that coach. I think that's really cool. If Brad Stevens can be the All-Star coach, that's a lot of publicity for not only Stevens but for Thomas, because the one story is going to lead to the other. Stevens gets to be around these All-Stars, obviously, that normally he probably doesn't know that well. He's probably met them in passing. They probably know about him. They probably know he's a good coach, but they don't really know him personally. You never know. Down the road, these players, they hit free agency. They remember a time back at New Orleans for whatever reason. Something stuck out with them.
You mean like Al Horford?
Exactly, like Al Horford.
You mean like Jimmy Butler, who's going to be starting for him?
Exactly. So you've got it can't hurt. It obviously cannot hurt the organization. It can't hurt the team to have Stevens representing, being the head coach. Now, in terms of the Celtics being second place, a bit surprising because you get so wrapped up in what the Celtics are doing that when they're struggling, you're thinking, these guys, they can't compete with Cleveland. They can't compete with Toronto. Oh, by the way, those teams have been struggling even worse than the Celtics.
Cleveland's having a full-blown meltdown.
Full-blown meltdown. LeBron's calling for help from all over the world, I think, right now. I mean, the guy's
Jordan Crawford just got on the plane from Shanghai. He's been in the D-League all season, but he just got on the plane from Shanghai.
That is actually true. Jordan Crawford, I mean, you've got it's Lance Stevenson. These guys.
The return to Rio.
Yeah.
Who even tweeted out that he's going for a workout.
So this is when the iron's hot, you strike, right? So this is what I think the Celtics did tonight. And I think that, listen, I'm not going to say if they're going to finish with the number 1 seed, but you can't say that they aren't.
They're 2.5 games out of it.
Before the season started, everyone said Cleveland, 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 and everybody else. Now, well, hold on just a second here. We might have ourselves a little number 1 seed, number 2 seed competition down the stretch.
And while that is very feasible, let's not forget that LeBron James in March is like the best player that exists on the face of the earth. So
but
Cleveland could go crazy after the All-Star break.
But at the same time, is Cleveland going to say, we think we're good enough that we can win in Boston on the road? We're not going to go for that number 1 seed.
No, that will never happen.
Okay, well,
that never has happened and never will happen.
Well, there's a first time.
Remember Reggie Wayne with the Colts when they didn't go for that undefeated season? Look how that ended up. Teams never do that. They get the number 1 seed, then LeBron will shut down for the last 2 weeks.
I don't think they're going to have that big of a cushion to shut them down for. That's what I'm saying. Like in the past, they've been able to shut them down with 2 weeks left. I think if the Celtics stick around and if the Raptors can figure it out, I don't know if they're going to have that luxury. So they're going to have to decide, play LeBron 30 minutes a game and really go for that number 1 seed, and then maybe you've got a more tired LeBron or a more tired Love or whoever it may be, or do you say let's risk it? If we get the 1 seed, great. If not, well, we'll see you in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll have to take one in Boston or Toronto.
Well, the Celtics will host the Cavs in early April, so that game could be a conference decider. That'll be fascinating. Before we go, it's my duty to talk about this man when he's good, because I tease him all the time when he's not good, which is just really for fun because it's an easy target. But Tyler Zeller had a huge impact with the bench in the late 3rd, early 4th, something that Stevens was very, very clear to give credit to so that the media doesn't downplay that in light of Isaiah's huge performance. And we shouldn't, because I totally agree with what Brad is saying there. the Terry Rozier's performance was fantastic.
The bench, yeah.
Jonas Jerebko, he did some work when he was with that unit. And they didn't have Kelly, and that's why Zeller needed to step in. And Zeller was winning on the glass, and that's something that they've always struggled with, even against the Raptors. It's always been an issue for them. And the night where Jonas Valanciunas got in foul trouble and then just like didn't play at all in the second half, pretty much only played like 12 minutes in this game, Zeller kind of took control of the game for a little while.
Much needed. And Brad Stevens said, somebody asked Brad Stevens after the game, what did you like about, the rebounding in the second half? And he said that we actually rebounded. Because in the first half, they could not buy a rebound. Horford wasn't getting in there for boards. Amir Johnson couldn't get anything. So Zeller, again, we talked about this, I think, last week. 7-footer. We know he can get in there and grab boards when they need it. And sometimes you just need a guy to get in there and rip down some boards and, get the outlet pass, get them moving in the other direction. So he did his job tonight. Real quick, I know we want to wrap this thing up.
Last thing.
Jaylen Brown, we didn't talk about him at all.
That's right.
We had angry Jaylen Brown tonight, which we don't see ever. And I asked Jay Crowder after the game, angry Jaylen Brown, what do you think? He loves it. He says that, a lot of times what they see is him smiling and happy-go-lucky. They want to see a little attitude. They want to see a little anger. Marcus Smart said something along the similar lines and saying they want to get back to being the team that all the opponents did not want to play going into that game. The team that really left it all out there. It was emotional. It was tough. They want to get back to that team that they were last season. And I think that was a little step.
And that moment when Jaylen got fouled, which didn't look that hard of a foul, but everybody went flying there. And Jaylen, he was staring down at Lowry, then Carroll got in his grill, and Rozier ended up getting a tech. Or I still haven't seen exactly what Rozier did. I know he snuck in there. But, he's Rozier. He always sneaks in there.
Right, yeah.
He's about to sneak into this video right now. But
hey, get out of here.
What was great to see was Marcus, went crazy when that happened, excited. He started yelling at everybody. He started flexing at the ref.
Yeah.
I think him and the ref
Getting the
were
crowd
going to
amps, too.
And the ref was like, just go back to the bench. Shut up, Marcus. That really motivated them. And I think Marcus ended up having a huge rebound a few plays later, if I'm not mistaken. So that gave them that energy, and they ran like hell. And, I hate having to credit Stevens for all my analysis points, but, he's the coach of the team. He probably knows.
Mine as well.
He probably can analyze better than I can. But he made the point, which is what I was seeing, was that you can credit, obviously, Isaiah for making all those plays, but all the guys on the floor were playing with a level of intensity and energy where they're running circles around the Raptors. They're causing matchup confusion for the Raptors. They're making it so that the Raptors' two defenders are out on an island trying to deal with the pick and roll with Isaiah. And if Isaiah gets a two-man pick and roll instead of a third guy helping over, the defense is toast. He's going to get a three. He's going to hit it, or he's going to get through the lane. The whole team played with the level of energy and intensity on both ends that they need to win, and that's the identity that they've always had, and they started to actually show it tonight in a game where they're going up against a team where, in order to beat that team, it's the mental edge that's going to get them over the top.
Yeah, this is a playoff preview. There's going to be no issues getting the Celtics or the Raptors to play with emotion any time in the future. If these two teams meet in the playoffs, get ready for what could be a pretty fierce. I would, if tonight's any indication, a pretty fierce 7-game battle. That's what I think.
And just to make it clear exactly what the status of Isaiah Thomas is before we leave, he went to the free throw line a minute into the game, and there was a full-on MVP chant at the free throw line in the first few minutes of the game. That never happens. So,
but listen,
it's a special moment happening here.
Every game like this tonight, it becomes a more and more real possibility. It's no longer like a crack. It's legitimate.
He's definitely 5th in the MVP voting right now. He could get higher. You could
get it at this rate.
What Harden?
The Celtics finished with the number 1. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because Harden and Westbrook, what they're doing is incredible.
Sure.
And they're doing something beyond what Isaiah is doing, believe it or not. But if Isaiah is carrying this team past Cleveland, then he does get strong consideration at this rate.
The most valuable player.
Yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for us on a long and a fun edition of the Garden Report. We'll be back after the Laker game on Friday.
Lakers.
And then on Sunday.
Rivalry renewed.
Before the Patriots. Yeah. Oh, God. It's the Lakers lose their 15th straight game. One day.
Swaggy P in the building, though.
That's true. On Sunday, there's a football game going on. That's obviously going to interrupt a lot of your Celtics viewing pleasure. So what we're going to do is we're going to have actually double our staff on Sunday, and we're going to bring you the Garden Report as soon as humanly possible. After Paul Pierce talks, we're going to get out here. We're going to do one video, super quick, talk about Paul, talk about what happened in that game, get you something before you do your Super Bowl pregame. So look out for us on Sunday. You can follow this guy on the Twitter bots.
Jimmy _Toscano.
And you can find me, Jared Weiss, NBA.
Don't we have a special as well?
We do, and thank you for setting me up for that.
Okay,
so I was a small part of a big team that put together a documentary on Paul Pierce. We talked to former GM Chris Wallace. We talked to Sean Grandy, really just the best that exists when it comes to talking
Just
about
the
sports.
best.
He's incredible. So I sat down with Sean for that. And then we also talked to the legend Bob Ryan, the guy that chronicled it all from Bird to Pierce. And that was put
Stories
together
for
by
days.
Larry H. Russell for CLNS Radio, narrated by Coach Nick from B-Ball Breakdown, who is a part of the CLNS family now, and produced by our wonderful Kyle George, as well as some contributions from Jeremy behind the camera there. So that's definitely worth checking out. Obviously, it's going to be out on Saturday. Go to clnsradio.com to
Must
find
watch.
that. It's going to be a must-watch. It's also
Celtics porn, folks.
and it's going to be on Sunday. Will be the last production by our esteemed producer Kyle George, who has accepted a position with the Boston Celtics to be a digital
That's what we
programmer
do
for
here.
them. That's what we do.
That's just what we do.
So yeah, so Jimmy's going to
We
be
let 'em
playing in
fly
the
away.
backcourt with Isaiah by next year. So that'll do it for us on the Garden Report. For Jimmy, I'm Jared. Jeremy's behind the camera. We will see you on Friday night. Peace out.